Welcome to Spirits and Screams.
Hey guys, welcome to Spirits and Screams. I'm your host Karen, and tonight we're going to do a brand new deep dive movie review of the 2022 supernatural horror film, Don't Look at the Demon. This one I just found on Tubi randomly and watched it, and it was so much fun. I just want to talk about it. So in case you haven't seen it yet, this is what it's all about. Don't Look at the Demon from 2022. A team of paranormal investigators heads to the highlands of Fraser's Hill, Malaysia, to probe a series of disturbances at a house with a dark past. Directed by Brando Lee, starring Fiona Dourif, Harris Dickinson, and Jordan Belfi. So this movie was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I'm really glad I got a chance to watch it, totally by accident, but it really helped me because the last little while I've watched a lot of stinkers, I gotta say, that I just don't even feel like talking about. Anyway, this one is like a group of paranormal investigators, and they get together, they're filming a show, and solely based on making money kind of thing. They head over to Malaysia to do some investigating of cultures and things to do with the supernatural there. And then they come upon this haunted house that they do an investigation at. What's really cool about this is Fiona Dourif is in this. She plays Jules, the psychic that's part of the group. And she is, in fact, Brad Dourif's daughter. So I thought that was really cool. She's really good in this. And also we have Jordan Belfi, who was in Nefarious as well, which I reviewed not that long ago. Really like that one too. He's in this one too. He plays Maddie, and they kind of have a love interest together. And so there's lots of tension and stuff that goes on along with it. But so good. I'm gonna say right now up front that this review will have spoilers, so if that's not cool, just click off now and we'll catch you on the next one, or you can go watch it and come back and we can talk about it, because I want to get into the spoiler part of it because the effects and stuff are what really made me love this film. So this movie gets into it right from the get-go, and I love that. There's a scene where the investigators go to Malaysia. They hook up with a translator, and she brings them to this monastery with these monks that are performing this ancient ceremony where they're tattooing on the back of this young girl like a marking that helps to ward off demons or keep them away, or free people that are possessed, that kind of thing. And they're watching this ceremony to try to learn, and the girl's just writhing in pain, screaming in pain, and they beg this guy to stop, the monk to stop doing what he's doing. They're saying, we don't need to see this, like this isn't necessary. But just as they do that, the girl starts vomiting, and she vomits up these nails. It's so gross. Vomits up these nails, and then we're told that the nails contain a curse from her former partner or boyfriend. And so it's like getting rid of the demonic, these evil things, evil curse or spirit. It's the first time in a really long time that I've watched something gross in a movie and I actually gagged. I started gagging and I felt so sick. I couldn't stand it. So that was my first, I love this movie so far. And it just keeps going. There's so much of that kind of stuff and practical effects in it, and probably CGI too. But it's just so well done. So good. I really liked it. There was plenty in there for me to be entertained. And I found it really different from most possession films. I'm probably going to have people that disagree with me, but I don't know. I liked it. I thought it was really unique and different. Now this movie I expect was pretty low budget, but it's beautifully filmed. It's really cinematic, haunting, and the acting's really good, and I even liked the score. It was good too, so it kind of kept me captivated throughout. I really enjoyed it. I like finding those kinds of movies that you don't expect, and you just happen to have a day off, and you just, turn them on, and you're like, wow, this is so good, and you get right engrossed in it. And it was so good at parts that I rewatched the scene again because I just found it really fascinating. It's one that I would love to get on physical media, but I don't know that that exists. But if it did, definitely would buy that for my collection because I really, really had a good time with it, and I'd like to rewatch parts of it. Partly also, a lot of what I'm doing with my comic book series, it's got a similar storyline to it, and so I was really inspired by that. Actually seeing it visually on screen in a movie, I thought that was really fun. Not that my story is going to be exactly like that, but it had similarities to it of the direction I want to take with my comic book, so I thought that was really, really fun. So this paranormal group is called the Skeleton Crew, and they have like a logo on the side of their car. And they consist of Jules and Maddie, and those are the two characters I just told you about. And then there's a film crew of 2 men, Ben and Wolf. I believe they're brothers. And they're film crew, editing, all that kind of stuff, doing the paranormal gadgets and whatnot. And then they've hired this girl named Annie, who's a translator for them while they're there. But Jules is this psychic girl, and in the beginning we get to see a little clip of her when she's young, and she's kind of going through something tragic where she's having something supernatural happen to her in the room. Screaming's heard, she's with her sister, and her mom comes bursting in. The handle on the door bends, you know, from some supernatural force, so it's really creepy. Something happens, tragically the sister's killed, and Jules, the psychic, she lives on and grows up. And then we fast forward to Malaysia, where she's, you know, grown up, and she's like with this guy, and they have this paranormal group and this show which they're putting out there mostly just for money, for profit. You know, I'm sure they're interested in it kind of, but they're kind of just doing it for ratings and to make this show work. So everybody's really keen on getting paid and that kind of thing. Jules sits down and flips through all the, I guess, the email notifications, the emails that they get from this group online, and just hundreds and hundreds of cases, people messaging them that my house is haunted, you know, my daughter's possessed, that kind of thing. 90% of it totally not true. She's flipping through using her psychic ability really quickly, which is kind of crazy, but it's a movie, right? She's flipping through, nope, 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 nope. And then she's like, stops at this one email and says, I think there's something here, we should go check it out. And this is, of course, in Malaysia. So they find this house, big old house. They contact the people. It's a husband and wife. They've had a lot of weird stuff happen. They get them to go over to the house to come and have a look. They're filming every single thing that they're doing as they're going. The wife describes some of the stuff that's been happening to her, and the husband's pretty upset about it. But they basically conclude that, you know, the psychic, she's not feeling anything, and that it's probably not real, it's not legit, it's kind of something that maybe the people are letting their minds run away from them, and it's just not anything. So they decide they're going to pack it in and go. But just before they do that, some crazy things start to happen. So just before they decide they're going to leave, everybody starts to go towards the car, and Jules is in the basement by herself. Everything goes dark, you know, and the demon encounters her and grabs at her. There's a bit of a jump scare. It's actually really subtle and really cool. I really enjoyed it. It reminded me of like a Japanese horror film, you know, where there's that kind of weird looking face in the darkness. And it kind of creeped me out. It spooked me a little bit. I didn't find it hokey or anything at all. I thought it was really neat. The only thing that was a bit hokey throughout the film that they used quite a bit to let you know that the demon was coming up, was that you could see people's breath. So it was getting cold, but it was very CGI'd and very, I don't know why they were doing that every single time. I don't think we really needed it, but I guess they felt the need to add that to each scene where the devil would pop up. But yeah, that was pretty cool. There's a few jump scares, but I think they're necessary and they're really quite fun, including this one. So at that point, she's still kind of like not sure of what's happening, but the demon actually touched her in this scene. So when she runs up the stairs to get out of the house, she's talking to Maddie and saying that I'm not doing this because this is just hitting too close to home. I don't let them touch me. Something's wrong with this place, and I can't quite figure out what it is. Like psychically, she's kind of blocked, but she knows there's something there, and it's trying to have at her and get into her kind of thing. So she doesn't want to be a part of it. So they kind of argue. But of course, he's on the side of the film crew that he's hired, you know, and they need to pay the bills. The last job they did, they kind of got screwed over and didn't get paid. So he's worried about the money and going all the way over there and, you know, following through with this for the show. But anyway, there's kind of a tension going on between the two of them after that. So it's kind of, it leads to more fun stuff. So they decide they're going to stay. They settle in for the night. They start hearing screaming and it's dark. And they run to the woman of the house's room. And I swear to God, this is one of the best possession scenes I think I've ever seen. My feet were tingling. It freaked me out so bad. They open the door and they see her levitating vertically towards the wall, and her head is just being methodically smashed against the wall. And in her own voice, she's pleading for them to help her. Like, help me, help me. And it's smashing her head till she's got this big gash on her head. It flings her down because they're just like perplexed. They don't know what the hell to do. They're so terrified. Flings her down and it drags her out of the room like an invisible force. And they stop her outside of the door, and she, in a seated position, starts levitating backwards down the staircase. Like, this is a huge old, you know, all wood house with a big banister staircase. She's floating backwards down this staircase, and they're trying to get it to stop, and all of a sudden her eyes go black and the demonic voice comes out of her that is so cool. And the psychic woman very quickly reaches out to her and grabs her hands, and they're holding each other's hands really tightly, but it's such a powerful force, she can barely hold her. Then the demon snaps one of her fingers backwards and breaks it to release the hold on them holding hands. Oh my God, I had to watch it twice because I was like, that is an incredible scene. And during that, the demonic voice says, "Why won't you see?" And so we know there's something to that, but we don't really find out until later on down the road. But of course, the film crew in the middle of the night, they're filming everything, you know. They're filming everything and kind of going over it after and in disbelief. But I guess the demon lets hold of her for a bit. The husband's able to take the woman to hospital. They have to make up some story. Or no, so I think the doctor comes to the house to help, you know, mend her, fix her head and everything. And they make up some kind of story so that they don't have to tell the truth because no one's going to believe that. Poor girl's got this massive gash on her head and she's just freaked out because all this stuff is happening to her all the time. And, you know, they don't know what to do. And I guess because they're kind of tied into the house, they don't, you know, want to just leave the house, and they've invested all this money into it and everything. So I would leave. I'd be out of there real quick. But they're kind of worried, I guess, maybe that this thing will follow them as well, so they don't want to go. Because it's to do with curses and stuff, as well as demonic and supernatural and all that, right? So they don't know exactly what they're dealing with at the moment, but I don't know. I think I'd leave. I think if I was that film crew, I'd probably leave too, because that would be like a little bit too much good stuff to get on film, I think. But, oh man, the way they did it is so good. And before they even get a chance to take a breath, suddenly, by an invisible force, the men are all locked in this like empty closet kind of thing, this room, and Jules is left out there in the darkness, not knowing where Martha went. No, the woman, the lady of the house, and she's got a flashlight, and it's scary as shit. You know, there's gonna be a jump scare, and there is a jump scare. There's a face, and it's got that Asian horror kind of feel to it. So it was really fun. I really like that. So then we get out of that and it goes into more stuff. Okay, and at this point, Jules is really wanting to just get out of this place and not deal with this anymore, but the show must go on and they keep pushing forward. So she takes a break and she walks out of the property, and she stumbles upon close by this bar, it's kind of like just a building, small. She goes into it, it's dark in there, and there's a bartender, and she ends up sitting down and having a shot of whiskey or whatever, and talking to him, and he tells her about, oh, that house, that people come and go and leave that house all the time. The women usually get hurt or disappear, and, you know, they they take off and new people come. So everyone should stay away from that house, should know to stay away from it. And then suddenly she kind of snaps out of it, and the whole place is old and like abandoned, and the man wasn't even really there, and someone comes in and says, "What are you doing in here? This place is basically shut down, condemned. No one's allowed in here." And she just snaps out of it and thinks, like, obviously she had some sort of a vision and it wasn't real, but it felt very real talking to that man. And she sees a photo of him on the wall, and she says to the guy, "Who's that guy?" And he says, "Oh, he used to work here years ago, but he died a while ago. He's not even alive anymore. Him and his wife lived at that house, and she disappeared, and he died of sadness afterwards," kind of thing. And so she's really freaked out at this point, goes back to the house. Yeah, she's really having a hard time of it. And then when she gets back shortly after, Ben, the camera guy of the two brothers, he gets possessed, and he's levitating, and he's got the black eyes and all the crap happening. And then there's so much tension and stuff going on, craziness. And then at that point we get the backstory of what happened to Jules when she was a kid. Her and her sister were in the room, in her bedroom in her house, and they made a salt circle, I think, and they were performing this ritual too, because she was psychic and she had the ability to contact and connect with dead people. So they thought they'd make a game of it. You know, what every kid would do. I'd have been so scared as a kid, I never would have, slept again. They decided they'd hold hands and chant and kind of drum up spirits, and they would pick people, celebrities that had just recently passed away, or cats or stuff like that, and they'd make them appear, but they'd be in the security of this circle, so it'd be okay. And it was like a pentagram kind of shape, the circle thing, anyway. And they end up summoning something up that's not good, and something happens where her sister dies, and the mom gets to them, and then I guess from there, tragic accident, whatever, the sister grows up and she ends up being a psychic, part of a ghost hunting team, right? So that's the backstory that we get. But then things kind of go on, and they're still struggling with how to deal with this and what's happening and what's going on, what to do. Everybody's seeing things. They've got so much proof on their cameras of stuff that's happened. It's just insane. But there's all bits and pieces of stuff happening, and it slowly comes together. After Ben is possessed, things just start to go haywire for the rest of the movie. There's lots of tidbits of things that start happening possession-wise. And one of the things that was really cool was Jules gets suddenly crucified to the wall, and she's like literally like 6 inches her feet from the floor, and she's crucified to the wall with these massive nails. And she's there. It's so realistic. It's so creepy crazy. She has to pull her hands with the nail in it slowly out of the wall to get free. Oh my God, what a scene. I had to watch that one a second time too, because that was pretty cool. It was so well done. There's also another cool scene where there's a little shot of Ben when he's possessed. He's kind of twitching in a weird way, and they show clips of outside with the trees kind of blowing in the wind in kind of like a sped up motion kind of thing. But it just, have you ever sat in a windstorm and you look outside, and sometimes the branches and trees will move that way, especially if the wind's coming from different directions? It really was a cool image, a cool scene. I really liked that a lot, because it creeped me out, because I could really identify with that kind of motion happening. It was neat, and I don't know that I've seen something like that before, so I really enjoyed that. There were lots of moments like that throughout the film that were really different. To me anyways. Maybe other people have seen stuff like that before, I don't know, but it was really different and really unique, and I really liked it. And remember I told you the monk was tattooing this symbol on the young girl's back to ward off the demons. Well, we learned that the translator girl slept through the whole first possession scene, and nobody really could understand how she slept through it, but they had camera monitors up and they could see that she did. She comes out, and Ben, possessed, attacks her, rips her shirt, and we're unveiled is the tattoo on her back. So she's got one of those tattoos from years ago, and it obviously keeps the demon away. So when that happens, he sees it, he flings himself backwards, and he does one of those moments like in Bram Stoker's Dracula where Lucy who's a vampire, in the cave, she like walks backwards and, you know, they reverse the film and she looks like she's laying back down and closing her eyes in the coffin. It's that kind of a moment. I thought that was really cool too, because I love that scene so much from Dracula. It's one of my favorite scenes that I've ever seen. And yeah, he does that and it's pretty cool. So we learned that about it. And then you're thinking, okay, I can kind of figure out where this is going, what's happening. But no, it just keeps going and there's more to it. And I was kind of surprised at the ending, actually. I thought it was really cool. All right, so cool things. We've got 2 people possessed in this movie, which is always fun. We've got the why won't you see, and you're wondering, what does that mean? We've got the, what do you call it, Kuman Tong thing, the whole concept. And they end up smashing down a wall and finding this hidden room in the basement. And there's that photo of the Asian man with the glasses. The woman of the house is painting him in the beginning, the visions they're seeing of him all the time. Anyway, they find a film recorder in the room and they play it back. This old 8mm film. And it's almost like a snuff film kind of thing. And there's a woman that's pregnant and that man is cutting her belly and he's ripping it open with his teeth. It's like one of the most incredible, gory, gross scenes I think I've ever seen. And he's ripping it open to take this tiny, tiny baby out, and it's to do with that whole thing, right? That concept. Man, so creepy, but I guess it's a way for the demon to control the women and the baby, unborn baby souls, that kind of thing. And I think this Kuman Tong thing is, there's a protector of the master, the demon, that's master of this, trying to gain power from the souls of these women and children. Really clever, really fun, and very kind of different. I didn't really think it was going to go that way, but I loved that part of it. And then it carries on and goes farther. At the very end, they have the monk performing this ceremony to try to get rid of the demon, because now they know that's what it is. They get him to come there. They sit in the salt circle like Jules and her sister did in the beginning, and they're all holding a string together to connect themselves together to do these prayers to try to send the demon back. And yeah, it kind of goes awry, and then there's a super big plot twist at the end, and I'm not going to give away that part because, you know, I don't give away the endings, even though we had spoilers. But yeah, so fun, lots to it, great effects, unique stuff. I enjoyed it right to the end. I really want to watch it again. I loved watching those scenes. They're so much fun and so creepy. It just hit me that way today. Such a hidden gem. I'm really glad I found it. And of all places, it's on Tubi. So you guys can all go check it out if you haven't seen it yet. Let me know in the comment section below what you thought of it, if you liked it. Long comments. Remember, I love chatting about it. I'm sure there's other films that are like it that are out there, but yeah, Brad Dourif's daughter, good job, because she was awesome in it. I know she's been in some of the Child's Play movies too. But yeah, I really liked it. It was really fun. And the Nefarious dude, I think he was way better in this one than he was in Nefarious. He was the lawyer, you know, trying to reason with Nefarious to, you know, stop the execution in that film. But yeah, he was so good in this. They all were. Everybody was really good in it. So yeah, for my review, of course, you know I'm going to give it a hard 5 out of 5. This one's a Spirits and Screams cult classic. I freaking love this film, because I do. It's really fun, and I'm definitely going to add it to the collection if I can find it, for sure. So yeah, you guys, if you like the video, give it a like, and subscribe to the channel, because you know what? You probably should, because now I'm getting closer to being done with the website and the comic books and the artwork, and we're going to have a Patreon fired up that's going to be really good, and you're going to want to stay tuned for all of that and keep following along with it. Yeah, we're still going to have movie reviews and stuff like that too, so don't worry about that. You'll always have the content on YouTube to watch as well. But yeah, I hope you guys are doing really well. This was such a fun thing. I love doing these reviews, especially when I find something that I wasn't expecting. Really, really enjoy that. I'm going to say right now up front, I was going to review that shark film in Paris that just came out on Netflix. I can't even remember what it's called now, but I watched it like at midnight the night it was coming out, and it was not my cup of tea at all. I don't know what the heck they were thinking. It was so badly CGI'd. It was just bad acting. It was just bad. I just didn't like it at all. You know what? I didn't even finish watching it. I got like maybe a quarter of the way through and I shut it off because I was just like, I'm done. This is not what I thought it was going to be at all. But anyway, maybe some of you guys liked it, but I didn't. So I didn't bother reviewing it. But I found this one, so that was a nice turnaround and was fun. So I hope you guys get to check it out. And I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching. As usual, it'll be really nice to chat with you about this one, so drop your comments down below, and we will see you really soon on the next one. Bye, guys!